And welcome back to Coffee with the Wolves. I'm Damian Dennis, and I hope everyone had a great holiday break. We're back after a week off to talk men's basketball with head coach Danny Turner. Danny, welcome back to the show.
Well, hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
It's always good to be back.
for sure. I'm ready to get back in the swing of things, both here with the podcast, you with the basketball. Just it's getting into the holiday season, so you got another break coming up, but. Before we get into any of that, Danny, I have to remind everyone that Coffee with the Wolves is presented by Grounded Coffee Bar.
Hey everyone, it's a great day to get grounded. With locations in New Lenox and Frankfort, it's always a good time to stop by and try our seasonal drinks. Whether that's cherry as summer comes to an end or pumpkin as fall begins. We've also updated our hours to better serve you. We're open late on Fridays and Saturdays now until 9 p.m. Make sure you're following our socials, that's Instagram and Facebook, for the latest updates on our specials and events so you don't miss out. Grounded Coffee Bar is a proud sponsor of Coffee with the Wolves and JJC Athletics.
All right. Big thanks to Grounded Coffee Bar for sponsoring Coffee at the Wolves. They've been a great partner throughout the fall here and heading into winter. Danny, let's start with, how was your Thanksgiving?
I tell you what, fortunate enough to be able to get stuffed. Hopefully that's not a sin, but a little gluttony, I guess. But it was well. Able to spend it with family and get out and do some recruiting as well with these holiday tournaments.
Oh, yeah. I got to imagine the recruiting. You were hot on the recruiting trail over the break.
Sure. Yeah, I was able to stop at the WJOL annual holiday tournament. And of course, we want to keep our eye on all the local talent. And then, of course, we made our way to Riverside Brookfield, which we also had a in-district school, Joliet West, was in that tournament. So we were able to get out.
Cool. Yeah. My holiday break, it was also my birthday. So you talk about gluttony. It was extra for me. So, but, we're here to talk about the men's season so far. Not quite the start I know you wanted for the year. 2-5 on the season. You started hot, got a pair of wins to start the season. Now you're on a 5-game losing streak. We're recording this Thursday, so at the time of recording, you're about to get on the bus to head to Moraine Valley. So by tomorrow, maybe the streak is snapped by the time this releases. But still, it's not been the start you wanted. How do you kind of motivate your players to, hey, we're down, we're not out?
Yeah. Well, let me start off by saying this. I mean, we hope to get a victory. I mean, obviously that's our goal going into every contest is to come out victorious. But, we're young. And, it sounds like almost like a broken record because that's one of the first things to come out of my mouth. But it's the reality. We've got a flux of newcomers and freshmen, and they're just slowly getting acclimated to college basketball. But we don't want to break their confidence at any rate. But we're continuing to push them and just try to find the right chemistry. I mean, that's basically what we're searching for through our first 7 games.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure without looking at the schedule, the results, I'm sure you had a bad loss in there. But a lot of these games you guys have been in, maybe you get down by a lot, but you kind of make it close by the end. How do you kind of overcome that? Like, okay, yeah, we're down, but we're going to get ahead now. I mean, it's sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way. That's true in all sports.
Yeah.
I remember growing up with hockey. Sometimes the puck doesn't bounce the way you want it to. That happens. But still, keeping your guys motivated, how do you go about that?
Well, I mean, we talk about the analytics. I mean, that's the true part of the game at every measure. We wanted to cut down our turnovers. I won't even give you the numbers that our freshmen are averaging in terms of turnovers, but everybody's has a part in this, and we're only shooting 21% from the three. It's I mean, in my 4th year here, I mean that's probably the worst that we've shot as a team. I mean, we were one of the leading 3-point shooting teams in Division III in the country a couple of years ago, but 21%. I mean, we're a better shooting team than that, and I think it's a matter of shot selection. So we've been really emphasizing that in practice. What's a good shot? What's a good shot for number one? What's a good shot for number two? kind of thing. And so we've been really working hard on that. And then again, I alluded to turnovers. I mean, we're just making too many turnovers, and we need to cut that down. Our goal is each game is to make -10 the turnovers, and then we're only producing 11 assists. So that means we're not moving the ball, and it goes back to that shot selection, ill-advised shot selection, if you will. And then, of course, we're just not shooting well anywhere, But we're about 45% from the from the regular field goal. But only averaging 75 points a game. I think we're capable of being in the 80s. Last year we were, and not to really compare it, but, we have more talent, I believe, this year, but maybe younger guys. But, we were averaging 84 points a game last year, finished around the 82 points a game clip. But just really finding that chemistry, man. We're still searching for that.
Yeah.
And again, we don't want to break confidence as we're searching for that. We want to highlight the strengths of our players moving forward and kind of minimize the weaknesses.
Right. Yeah. How practice has been going. You've had a couple of weeks off. You had the holiday break. So it's been a long time since you guys saw in-game action. How's everybody kind of taken to practice and prepared for this first game back here tonight on Thursday?
Well, I tell you what, our practices have been really, really competitive, really, really good. I mean, we've had to break action, which is a positive, where guys are just getting after each other. They're competing at a high level as these freshmen get ingrained with college competition. But in some days during the break, it was like a hit or miss. We had the campus closed due to
Internet outage on Monday.
The inclement weather and then the outage that you just alluded to. But when we did practice, we practiced at least 4 times during the break. And they were really, really, really competitive.
Yeah. Do you think having such a long break, because I feel like, so I've been here 2 years now, I feel like in the past, over the Thanksgiving break, it hasn't been that long of inaction for you or Sean's team, the women's team. Sure. 2 weeks off seems like kind of an extended period of time for you guys.
Yeah, it is, but it's needed. It's very much needed because the kids need a little break as well. We give them that Thanksgiving day off and then the day after Thanksgiving off, and then we go right after that. So it's much needed for staff as well as the student athletes. But I tell you what, this group is pretty interesting because they love playing the game.
Yeah.
It's just iron out the wrinkles, continuing to teach them how to play the game and how we want it to be played, and continue to hone their skills along the way.
Yeah. Just to stay on the topic of breaks at the moment, we have another holiday break coming up, Christmas season. That is another 2 weeks off for you guys?
Yeah, it is. But we're going to be right after it, man. Obviously we'll have Christmas Eve off, we'll have Christmas Day off, but we'll get right back into it between Christmas and New Year's Eve. We'll be practicing, and then obviously New Year's Eve we won't practice, New Year's Day we won't practice, and then a couple of days after that, we'll get right back to the nitty gritty of things. But also during that Christmas break, because it's such a longer stretch, we'll get back to resistance training.
Yeah.
Where it's really hard to do it after training camp and once the season starts. But we'd like to take advantage of that break and get some resistance training in and do some other things in terms of flexibility to keep the guys going and improving.
Yeah. Off the court, have you as coach or has the team taken any initiative themselves to kind of work on building this chemistry? Whether it's group dinners or movie nights. I doubt they're bringing Coach Danny to a movie night, but like something the team's doing.
But you know what this group is, and it's interesting that you said that. This group is really getting close, really getting closer. The sophomores are really taking some leadership. And bringing these freshmen along. There's a more positive reinforcement from these sophomores. So that's a sign of growth for those guys in terms of their leadership development. And these freshmen are buying into it, more and more. So not just hearing from me, and it's a part of our culture, where once the players the veteran players start to demand things and lead in a positive way. That's just beautiful to watch. And this group is really, really coming together really, really well, man. I mean, they can go to a high competitive level depending on the drill, right? And most of the drills are demand that. But then after it's all done, like we always shake hands at midcourt to conclude practice, and they just love each other.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of positivity going on, even though we're on a 5-game losing streak.
Yeah.
And of course, they remind each other of that.
Yeah. How do you as a coach kind of assess the season at this point, having lost 5 straight?
Well, I tell you what, I realized the culture of the team, being so youthful. But again, that's really not an excuse, even though it's reality. You just got to keep grinding it out, man, and continue to teach. And like I alluded to, the sophomores are teaching, and now the freshmen are teaching each other as well. And my staff has been tremendous in doing that as well. But just got to grind it out, because we're trying to develop sound habits, habits that are going to lead to winning, and that's something as simple as a block out, holding your block out, what's a good shot versus a bad shot, making good passes, taking care of the basketball, defending without fouling, those kind of things that win games. We're just trying to develop those sound habits so they can move in that direction or continue to move that way.
I want to ask about some players, some student athletes that have impressed you so far this season. Let's start with the sophomores because they're your veterans on the team. What have you seen out of your sophomores, and do any of them particularly stand out as being, a leader, or whether it's on the court, off the court, just somebody who's not only performing, athletically, but, as a leader?
Yeah, sure. Javion Green. Javion didn't play much. He was more of a role player last year for us coming off the bench. And then this year he started out in that same role. But now he's branched out. Now he's a starter for us. Yeah. He really leads, not very vocal, but he leads in a quiet way, mostly by example. So I got to give him a lot of credit for doing that. And then, of course, Jeff Fleming and Levi Gold have been tremendous. They're our team captains. And then Victor Yatu, he's a giant of a stature. So, he just towers over people, not just with his size, but with his voice. Yeah. So he's been really, really positive and instrumental in providing that leadership that's necessary.
And then for your freshman student athletes, who's really just impressing you as a player, as a student? Who's really standing out to you so far this season?
Well, I tell you what, a few of them have, and Kareem Parker is one that needs to be mentioned. He was a starter in the beginning, and now he's like tonight he's not going to start. But the thing about Kareem Parker, he's just extremely talented. He can play multiple positions at 6'6", 6'7". Long and wiry, but he played inside throughout high school, throughout his entire high school career. But we're trying to mold him as a guard because he has those qualities and that talent. So it's really tough for him because he's got to learn multiple positions, but he's bought into it. He's very, very coachable, and he wants to get better.
Yeah.
So we've been impressed with him.
Cool. Anybody else on the freshman side?
Oh yeah, we've got Dominique Hill. He hit a buzzsaw early stages of the season, and now he's starting to come around. Yeah. And starting to display what he brings to the table, and then Gabriel Patterson has been another freshman who has a lot of upside and promising. So we've been pretty happy with those guys, and then Pierre. Pointer has been injured a lot, through our first 7 games, but he's such a tough kid, man, and he's just battling those injuries right now, and with him, he wants to play so bad, and we're trying to get him to understand that, if you're injured, you're not 100%, son, it's a long season, so he's got to learn that, and but he's coming along too. We've been really, really pleased with him when he's able to play.
You know what? That last point there, kind of a good question to ask. How do you keep your team healthy during the season? Because, injuries are bound to happen. You're playing 2-3 games a week.
Sure.
You know, like it could be a physical game. It could just be conditioning. You know, I mean, I've walked up down this hallway before and twisted my ankle. I think everybody's done something like that at some point. Some injuries more than others. You know, how do you kind of keep your team healthy? And then also, like when they're battling injuries, how do you kind of tell them, hey, you're maybe going to take this game off or only play this quarter because, again, like you said, it's a long season.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, the job of a head coach and as well as the staff is to pace the program, right? And so that's really, really huge. Load management, you know. We have to load, especially the starters, you know, that are given a lot of minutes, like Jeffrey Fleming. He plays so hard, man. College coaches really, really love how he plays, and they've expressed some interest in him and because of that. So we have to really manage his load and Victor's load. You know, Victor stands 6'9". He's 250 now, you know. So he's made some tremendous strides with that. But just verbally reinforcing, you know, taking care of your bodies in the training room, you know, before and after practice. Making sure that you're icing, you're getting a cold tub, anything that's, you know, that you need. And Mark, our new trainer, has been tremendous in that and following up with the guys and making sure they're getting in there to see him. And then, of course, we're talking about, you know, just managing your time, you know, with studies because this is the last week of the regular school schedule. Then next week we go into finals. So just managing your time with that, eating correctly, getting into proper sleep. So we verbally reinforce that on a day-to-day basis.
Cool. Well, Danny, I know you got to get out of here. You and the team are getting on the bus, heading to Moraine Valley for a game tonight. A lot of this conversation we talked about, you know, the 5-game losing streak could come to an end tonight. So by the time anyone's seeing this, maybe you're back in the win column.
Yes.
Doesn't necessarily negate any of this conversation, though. So,
Sure.
But Danny, yeah, good luck tonight, and you know, we'll have you back on probably after the holiday break coming up.
Okay, I'd be glad to be here for this. Thanks for having me.
And again, you're watching Coffee with the Wolves, presented by Grounded Coffee Bar. As always, we end with Wolf of the Week.